bitch.
All right, and we're live. We're live today. We got a special guest, combat sports athlete, MMA, jiu-jitsu. He does it all. We got Jake Bowers today. So,
Yes. What's up, guys? What's going on?
What's up? What's up, Jake, man? Hey, I'm really excited. Really excited to have you on. You know, we crossed paths probably 2 or 3 years ago, but then over the course of the past year, I've gotten to know you a little bit better. And so I'm really excited to just dive into your story and give you an opportunity really to just share what you're about, what you've been doing, some of the great things you've been able to do just in like central Iowa. So thank you for coming on, man. Thank you.
Man, thank you guys so much for having me. We're honored to be here today. I love Ames, love representing Ames. So, to be here in the podcast studio in campus downtown right now, this is awesome. So
Yeah, man.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So Jake, for people that don't know, where are you originally from?
So originally, my dad was in the military.
Okay.
He was an Army infantry soldier. So like I was born in North Carolina, but we were there for like 2 or 3 years, and then we were always moving around.
Yeah. Okay.
So like we lived in North Carolina, like Louisiana, Missouri,
Yeah.
Wow.
Kentucky, Tennessee, and then my dad's last tour was in Ames. Actually, he used to teach the ROTC program
Okay.
here at Iowa State.
Yeah.
So we ended up here in Iowa, and then my dad retired, and then I've been in Ames since like 8th grade.
Okay.
So to me now it's kind of like my home.
Yeah.
Just because it's the longest that we've ever lived anywhere. I'm 20. I just turned 29. So since 8th grade up until now, I've been here in Ames, and I love Ames though, bro. Like Ames is a great spot.
Yeah. No, I
love it.
It is for sure.
What was your favorite place outside of Ames
Favorite place?
that you lived? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we actually used to like Louisiana a lot.
The
That
food? Was it the food or
The food. That was a big part of it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they got like crawfish shacks on every corner, and just the whole Cajun, like, and you really can't get it anywhere else. Like, if you want the real authentic like Cajun food, and
The Creole stuff. All
yes,
that. Yeah.
like you got to be like in the southern part of Louisiana.
Right.
So
Right.
we used to love that, bro. Like we were always eating crawfish, and it was fun down there. That was where we were at before we came up to Iowa.
Okay. Man, that had to be a culture shock. So what was that like? You know, like obviously you moved a few different places, but coming from Louisiana to now smack dab in Iowa, like you're dealing with hurricanes, now you're dealing with blizzards. You know, like what was the adjustment for you as an 8th grader?
Yes, and like you said, hurricanes. Like I think we got hit. We were in Louisiana for like 3 or 4 years, and I think we got hit with like 2 or 3 different hurricanes just in that 2 or 3 year span that we were there. Like we got hit by Hurricane Katrina.
Wow.
That one was can't remember the exact year, but I remember
05, right?
somewhere in there.
Somewhere around there.
Yep. And it was bad, bro. Like they shut down the school. I think we were out of school for like a whole month. Like there was just trees, pieces of houses, like everything just in the streets. And so like we were all like as a community kind of, cleaning up our streets, and like for like a whole month, that's just what everybody was doing, whether you were a kid, adult.
Yeah. Just everybody having to take part in it, right?
Yep. So it definitely scary down there, bro, during hurricane season, because up here in the Midwest, you don't even think about it.
Right.
Like you see a hurricane on the news and you're like, oh, it's not going to hit us. But when you live down there on the coast, you're always like watching the radar and like, shit, is it going to hit us next week? Or,
Yeah.
and then it never snows down there either.
Right.
So the first time we came up here, that first winter was just like, wow, like just brutal, like way colder. Yeah. A lot of snow. Started going like snowboarding and stuff like that. But it's crazy, bro, how you just go a few states like across the U.S. and you're in a completely different land. Like the culture, the food, the people, the way they speak, the mannerisms. Like I feel like people in Iowa are a lot more like friendly than like not that they're like not friendly in the South, but they're a little more like, you know, they won't like go out of their way to say hey to you.
Like reserved, kind of.
Kind of reserved, yeah. Where in Iowa, you know, you go to Walmart and, you know, everybody's waving at each other. You don't know them. You're just, hey, what's up? Like, so.
Right.
It's a different vibe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that too because, like, I'm originally from Georgia. And so coming up to Iowa was definitely a culture shock. You know, like, for me, like, when I first saw snow, I was like, oh, all right, this is dope. Like, I get to, you know what I'm saying, see the snow and everything. But then it started snowing from like November all the way up until like April, and you like, dog, this is crazy. Like, I don't even like snow no more. You know,
it's
now
too long.
yeah, it's way too long, bro. Way too long. I miss just being able to still go to the lake when it's in December, you know, type of thing. So, but yeah, I get that for sure. And
yeah. Like you said, bro, the winters down there are like, it could be like 50, 60 degrees through December, January. Like, but I feel like Georgia, I think we went there a couple times, but it's probably kind of similar to Louisiana. I feel like,
yeah.
A little bit.
Because I mean, they got the Fort Benning base there too.
Yes.
So like my dad was in the Army too. He was stationed in Germany, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. He was all
we were
over
at Fort
a lot.
Leonard Wood.
Yeah, he was in a lot of places. At that time though, I wasn't even born, so it was my sisters that were jumping around. So yeah, but I definitely get that for sure.
Man. So like you got here and you had moved around a few different times, like what were your like activities of choice? You know, like were you doing basketball, football, baseball, wrestling? Like what were your activities of choice?
Yeah. So I would say like through middle school, me and my brother, we were really big into skateboarding, like huge like skateboarding scene down there in Louisiana.
Yeah.
At least like the town that we were in.
Right.
So we were always skateboarding, and then like even when we moved up here to Iowa, I think I was skateboarding for like at least a couple years. Like that's what I was kind of focusing on. I think I played like 1 year of soccer. I think I actually played 8th grade basketball at the Ames Middle School, like 1 year. Like I used to be pretty decent at basketball. Like we would play for fun. Like that was one of the cool things about the military base is like after school, like all the kids would just kind of gather like at the neighborhood like tennis courts.
Yeah.
And we would just get like neighborhood games going.
Right.
Like 5-on-5 basketball or football, like neighborhood football.
Yeah.
So we always grew up like on an Army base, just kind of doing like those after school activities where it's like whoever shows up, like, all right, we got 6v6. A couple more guys would roll in 20 minutes later, like, all right, we get John. No, we get John, bro. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So there is something cool about like living on the Army base. It's like, it's different than like living in the civilian world is what they would call it. Just like off post, off the Army base.
Right.
But yeah, and then one thing I did notice it was like, because down there in the South is like we didn't even know what wrestling was.
Yeah,
Really?
When we were down there in the South, like I had never even heard of it.
It's the same thing with me. You're in the South most of the time. It's football.
Football.
You know, that's what they care about, and that's what all the money's going to. And so in the South, it's hard to even get involved because you don't really hear too much about it.
100%.
Like how I got involved in wrestling was I had a flyer that like, you know, like when you're in elementary school, middle school, teachers send you home with little flyers to go be able to do stuff. And I went home and my dad wrestled in PA, so I knew he wrestled, but I didn't really know anything about it. And then that's how it kind of happened. It wasn't like I just seen it and I was like, oh man, like wrestling is dope. Like we're in Iowa, I feel like if you're in middle school or whatever, you see it so much that you want to be in it. Like it's like football, you like all these other sports that people want to be in it. And I feel like in Iowa, it's like wrestling, you know?
Yep.
You want to be in that sport. So
100%. And yeah, I remember like when we moved here, like we literally didn't know what it was. I was like, this is a school sport? Like, what the heck? Like these guys are like wearing singlets and like I just didn't understand it at all.
Yeah, right.
And I don't even think I really understood what wrestling was until like I was out of high school.
Wow.
Like I didn't understand that like essentially like I look at it as like a martial art.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
wrestling
Oh, for sure.
is a beautiful martial art.
Yeah.
But like they don't really like advertise it or like speak about it like that, like when you're in middle school, high school.
Right.
Right.
But if I would have known that it was like a legit martial art, I think I would have been a lot more interested in learning it, you know?
For sure.
But-
For sure. I think a lot of people are in that same boat. They don't like they just don't know about it as something that you can really tie into with the sport of like MMA.
Yes.
You know, they see it as more of just like, oh, they're in their own little sport, not that this can elevate me to get to this point or whatever. And it could be the same thing for football. Like I had a lot of boys that were good at football, like linemen, and I'd be like, dude, come out for wrestling. Like it's gonna get you better in the position. And all my boys that would come out, they would be better the next year at football.
Better.
Like it's just
like it makes you mentally tougher.
Yep.
Your tackles, I'm sure will get better once you start wrestling.
Yep.
But yeah, I think, man, I would recommend anybody who's younger, like to at least try wrestling if you've never tried it, you know, because you never know, you might just have an knack for it. And yeah, like you said, whether you're doing MMA or even just like self-defense, like if you know wrestling and you know somebody tries to pick on you, they're gonna have trouble, you know, picking on you if you have a wrestling background.
So you can defend yourself. Yeah.
So like you said, after high school is when you started learning about wrestling. Was that like the same time you kind of came into jiu-jitsu? Like what does that trajectory or calendar look like for you, if you were to walk us through that?
So yeah, really, I think I started learning about wrestling when I started training jiu-jitsu. So it was like right after high school. I think like me and a couple of my friends, we were at work. We used to work together, and we would always just talk about like, dude, we need to learn how to fight, bro. Like we would always just kind of talk about it. And then I remember like, Vlad's gym opened up 10, 12 years ago, something like that. And so we saw it, like I looked it up, we saw it, and we were like, dude, let's just go check it out. So I just like walked into this BJJ gym with I didn't know if it was like striking, if it was.
Like, so you just walked in off the street?
I just walked in like just to go see what's up.
Okay.
And so we were actually thinking it was more of like a kickboxing, like karate. Like we were going to see guys like throwing punches and kicks.
Yeah.
Is this like circa what? Like circa 2009, 2010? Like what?
So I graduated 2012. So this is probably 2013.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe like a year later after high school.
Got you.
And yeah, I remember just going in there and like, you know, they were doing hip throws and they were, you know, doing arm bar drills, like rear naked chokes. And I remember just sitting there thinking like, damn, like I need to learn this, bro. Like, I don't know what this is, but like, all the guys that were in there, they were all like shredded. They were all in good shape.
Yeah.
Like they all had like six packs. They were, doing moves on each other. And I was like, dude, this is dope, bro. Like I didn't know that there was like a place you could come to learn how to fight, and it's like organized.
Right.
And there's a team. You get to learn with other teammates.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then so once I found out about that, I just kept coming, and then I was like, and then that's when I discovered I was like, damn, I could have been wrestling all these years, you know, because like in BJJ gyms, it's pretty common that you see wrestlers come in there too. So then, you know, I was starting to train with other high level wrestlers that were getting into jiu-jitsu, and then I started to learn. I was like, damn, bro, like wrestling is like a really cool martial art.
Mm-hmm.
I could have been learning at a good school here in Ames since 8th grade, and I just wasted all those years.
You'd have been in a great state for wrestling.
Man, that's tough. Like just like that realization.
Yeah.
But like
especially in Iowa, because it's like one of the best states.
Oh yeah, for sure.
To learn wrestling, you know.
Man, that's a tough realization. But like, so then what did you like once you came to that realization? You did something about it. You didn't just like go, oh, woe is me, and like my time's up. Like, what did you do about it?
Yeah, so so I started getting into mixed martial arts, and then that's where I really started to do like some wrestling as well, like MMA wrestling.
Yep.
And then I started learning how to do. I think me and my friend Tim, we started at a Muay Thai gym. So for maybe like a year or two, like me and Tim would train like jiu-jitsu in the evenings, and then in the mornings we would drive down to Round Kick in Urbandale. And it's just like a traditional Muay Thai school.
Yeah.
So for a couple of years, we were doing both BJJ and then Muay Thai to kind of build up our base for MMA. And then, we'd be going to MMA gyms as well, doing wrestling there. But yeah, I would say that's one of the cool things about like MMA and jiu-jitsu in general is like there's really no age cap.
Yeah.
Like, so like I know with wrestling, it's kind of like after college, unless you're going to the Olympics or like MMA, it's kind of, you know, the door is not open to too many options. But in jiu-jitsu, they have like masters divisions. Like it's super common to see like middle-aged or older people on the mats training with,
Right.
you know, in a normal class.
Right.
So yeah, you know, I was like, I just kind of was thinking like I wasted all these years, but you know,
Yeah,
I'm
you
still
gotta- I
in my
mean,
20s, so I got some work to
got
do. I got
time,
to
yeah.
start catching up for
Yeah.
all this time I
Yeah.
wasted, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
So how have you liked you know, going into like Muay Thai? Because for me, I feel like Muay Thai is like one of those really good bases for MMA, like just for setting up kicks, all that type of stuff, you know. So what made you go to, you know, Muay Thai and not just go to like a traditional MMA gym? Because it's different, right? Like when you go to just a strictly a Muay Thai gym versus like an MMA,
Yep.
and the striking's different, you know, the checking the kicks is different, all that type of stuff.
Yeah,
So-
100%. Yeah, and yeah, I'd say probably the biggest difference between like Muay Thai and MMA striking is like their stance.
Yeah.
Like Muay Thai guys just
More
stand straight up
up.
and down because
Yeah.
they don't have to worry about the takedowns.
Right.
But yeah, really, I mean, when we started Muay Thai, like everything was so new to me that I was like, I didn't even really know what the difference between kickboxing was and Muay Thai, or like,
Okay.
you know, boxing, like all the single
Right.
arts. I was still kind of didn't really know the differences. And then, so we just, you know, it was one that was in the area. You know, we knew that it was one of the major assets in like MMA.
Right.
So we just chose that gym, started training, and then, but I do think like Muay Thai is a very, very good base, like you were saying, for MMA. Just, yeah, it teaches you everything, you know, the kicks, the knees, elbows, how to defend, how to cover. And yeah, I would recommend Muay Thai for anybody getting into MMA. It's fun too, bro. It's a blast.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it is. Because I didn't know about like really like the style of Muay Thai until I want to say like maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I don't know if you know Rob Font or like Calvin Cater, those guys. So
savages.
yeah, so my boy, he trains with them, but how he started training with them, he was going to this Muay Thai gym, and then, you know, Font and those guys would be in there, and then they would have, you know, the New England Cartel MMA practices. But he was just telling me, he was like, man, like getting a base for MMA, or I mean, MMA, but for Muay Thai, like helps you out so much with just blocking and just being in the clinch and different stuff like that. Like, and then you mix that in with like wrestling, it's crazy. So
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like if you have like good wrestling, Muay Thai, and then a little bit of jiu-jitsu, that like
Oh.
you can take that so far
Yeah.
in the cage
Yep.
just with that alone.
Yeah, because if you can feel comfortable in all those positions, you don't mind, you know, getting taken down. Like if you know your jujitsu, you don't mind getting taken down and being able to get off your back, or just being comfortable there is like one of those things. And like me and Kyvan, we were talking couple podcasts ago. It was like sometimes I see guys that have wrestled that were like pretty good wrestlers, and then they see the success now that all these other wrestlers have, and they feel as though like they don't need to really train all these other aspects, right? Like they're just like, oh, you know, I got this wrestling background, let me just do, you know, my striking training. But it's like it's a lot more to it than that. Like you can get maybe by a little bit, but you know, once you start getting these guys that know good jujitsu, know good Muay Thai, like you start integrating leg kicks, and you like, oh, like, you know, it's a different world out there, man, for sure.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That it is. It's fun to watch stuff. It's just fun to watch it, like the art and the mixing of the arts.
Yeah.
Just,
oh my gosh.
It's like it's beautiful to watch people mold them together to fit themselves or their body types, their personalities. You know, like someone might have a very aggressive personality, but they can use all of it to their advantage. Someone might have a more laid back, but they can mold it to them. You know, and so it's really cool.
Right.
Like watching it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the coolest things about like martial arts in general is just, especially in jiu-jitsu, like I feel like everybody's style, like as you advance, you know, everybody's style just kind of goes a different way.
Right.
Like somebody might be like super flexible, and you know, where another guy might just be like super like top heavy, like heavy pressure. This guy might be like quick, like with movement. And yeah, I think it's just cool how it, like you said, it's like an art. And I think that's where like if you don't understand what's happening in MMA, you could easily just look at it and be like, oh, these guys are just like street fighting essentially.
Right.
But when you really understand like all the arts and how they flow together and how they're combining everything, like, oh, he just, did that combination into his takedown,
Yeah.
right into his top control. Jiu-jitsu is activating right now. Like once you understand everything, it's just like, it's beautiful to watch.
It's a newfound respect for sure. Because it's not easy. Like these fans that just watch the UFC, they see it and they just want to see knockouts and stuff. And I'm like, man, it's an art to this. You got two guys that are veterans in this thing, and they're going at it to see who's the best. It's like wrestling, same thing. You're in college, you got the top level guys, and it's just whoever can just inch away at these different techniques and stuff like that. So, but
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, for you, I know a little bit about you from like a business side of things too, right? Like you have a moving company, right? And what's the name of your moving company?
So I got a moving company here in Ames, and so it's me and my business partner is Jose.
Okay.
So we named the company after it's called Jake and Jose Moving.
Okay.
Like Jake, letter N apostrophe Jose.
Okay. Okay.
And it was actually our friend Bill that came up with the name for us, and we just went with it, bro. So yeah, Jake and Jose Moving here in Ames.
And like, how long have you been doing that?
So that we just hit, I think we're like a little over 5 years as our own business.
What made you guys want to get into that space?
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, I was kind of like, once I discovered jiu-jitsu and the martial arts, I was like I was in school at the time, but then I kind of changed my mind. I was like, I don't know if I want to put all this time in school. Like now I kind of just want to train and like do jiu-jitsu full time and see where this goes.
All in, like you want to go all in?
I want to go all in.
Yeah.
So I started going all in, and I left school, and I was trying to find a job that would allow me to train like full time, which is kind of difficult. So like for a while I was working at Jimmy John's, which was good because I could do like split shift. Like I would like go train in the morning, I would work at Jimmy John's like the whole afternoon, and then I'd get off at like 6 o'clock, and then I'd go to the evening practice. So it wasn't making that much money, but it was allowing me to, pay my bills, pay rent, and then get that luxury training schedule.
Yeah, pour into your craft.
To the craft, right?
Right, yeah.
So I was sacrificing a little bit of money, but I was able to train full time.
You were
so
investing in yourself. So you took,
it was an
correct.
investment.
Yeah, you
and
made
that's
the
how the
investment,
way you have to look at it.
Yeah.
Yep.
100%. And so then it was actually like a side gig. Like one of my friends I worked with at Jimmy John's was like, hey, if you want to make any extra money, there's this lady that has a moving business, and there's this guy named Jose. He loves UFC, bro. Like you guys would probably hit it off.
Yeah.
And then I did a couple jobs, and Jose was awesome. Like he was like crushing it, bro. Like I could see how much experience he had, and like really we weren't getting paid anything. Like I think when we were doing that one, like she was paying us like $15 an hour.
Yeah.
But we would like collect the paycheck, and then we would take it to her house. So we would see like we'd be there for a few hours, like doing literally everything. And then we would give her like 90% of the money. And then I just started thinking, I was like, dude, like, what if we just started to like maybe try to get some side jobs, like just me and you?
Yeah.
Cause Jose had been doing it for like 8 years already.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I was like, dude, even if we just got a few extra jobs, we could charge what they charge. We're going to do the same work, and then we can just split it.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just, started making a few flyers. People actually started calling us. I think it's like a high demand here in Ames for moving.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, dude, it was just started with like 1 or 2 jobs a week. And then it just kept going. And then eventually it was just like, dude, let's do it. Like, let's get the LLC.
That's awesome.
And so it's cool because now we can still make our own schedule. I can still kind of adjust it to my training schedule.
Yeah.
And definitely making a lot more money than, working like an hourly job
For sure.
at Jimmy John's or, wherever it is.
Right.
So you hear that, kids. It is okay to bet on yourselves. It is okay to bet on yourselves, but you have to have a plan and you got to execute it. Like you got to have some trusted people, like your trusted person you probably leaned on, like some family.
Yep.
And then Jose obviously having a little bit maybe more expertise in that area than you at the time probably helped a lot.
Absolutely. I say that's one of the biggest things is, the people that you decide to, whether it's a business or, if it's something important that you're looking to grow, you got to have those people that you can count on. you know, and yeah, and it's going to be, a lot of hard work too. Like if you're afraid to, put in a little bit of work long days, or, not play as much video games this week or that week,
Right.
you got to be expecting to, put in that hard work and to get it going. So, but yeah, I love how you said, investing in yourself. That's like, I love thinking about it that way. And I remember one time Jeremy Stevens came to Ankeny, and he did a seminar.
UFC fighter, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's from Des Moines.
Yep. Featherweight.
Yep. Yeah, legendary, bro. Like Jeremy Stevens' career is just insane, bro. And then to know that he's from Des Moines, Iowa, is like so inspiring. But I remember one of the things he was telling us that day was like, you got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You gotta put in the time, the work. You might not see it that
Right
next
away.
week or that next month or that next year, but eventually, you put in enough time, enough work, and then those investments are gonna pay off, and it's gonna be for yourself.
Right.
Which is in my opinion, one of the coolest investments that you can make.
Yep. When you start cashing them checks on yourself that you were making when it was those hard days, and then you start seeing that stuff work out, that's like the best feeling, especially knowing that you put in the work consistently, and then now it's starting to come to fruition. So that's always pretty dope.
That's legendary. Like
Absolutely.
that self bet.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm gonna go get it. Like I'm not scared to work. I'm investing in myself. If I fail, like, all right. But you, like, I think you did it strategically where you like, all right, I have a job. All right, I'm gonna pivot, go do the moving thing, and then while you were doing the moving thing, you were like being aware of what was happening, right? And then you're like, all right, Jose, I think it's time, you know?
Yeah.
And so then that led to another thing, and I think Todd was about to ask you about that. Like,
What was that?
it led to you starting Myriad Submission.
Oh yeah.
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 Like, so you have a submission fighting jiu-jitsu gym.
Yep.
And a moving company. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, boy.
My man's a
Doing it.
entrepreneur.
Doing it.
Yeah.
So
So tell us about that.
yeah, so man, and yeah, sometimes looking back like on how everything happened, it's like it still is kind of crazy to me. Like, me and Jose talk about it all the time. Like, dude, we're like the #1 rated moving company in Ames now. Like,
Right.
and really it was just us trying to like put food on the table, bro, like to pay our rent.
Yeah.
Jose's got a family. So to us it was just like we were just trying to do what we had to do to just survive.
Right.
Like I didn't come from a wealthy family, neither did Jose. So we just kept grinding, and and that event, like looking back, it's like I can't believe we're the #1 like listed Ames moving company. But so this whole time I've been but I would say like my main focus like over all these years has been like my jiu-jitsu and the martial arts. Like I was kind of using the moving business to be able to enable me to train like full-time schedule. So to me, it was always just like, it's a hard job, it's tough work, but if this is what I have to do and it's going to be able to pay my bills and then allow me to train full-time, like I'll do it. Like
Right.
if I was going to be a garbage man, but it was going to let me do what I wanted to do, like
Then
I
you
would
was
do
gonna
it.
Yeah.
So
That right there is a word. Like that. That's like basically a scripture. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to do no blasphemy or anything out here, but like that's like I was just traveling the other week, and I was watching American Underdog about Kurt Warner.
yeah.
And he goes in the book or in the movie, he says, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do until you can do what you can do. Cause he was working at Hy-Vee.
Yep.
Right, like he was working at Hy-Vee, stocking shelves.
Yeah.
Like the whole story,
yeah.
right? My man's was a 4-year backup at UNI.
That's crazy.
And then worked himself.
Into a Super Bowl.
Yeah, like from the Barnstormers.
Yeah. That's the craziest
That's
part though. He was
crazy.
at the Barnstormers.
Mans was at the Barnstormers, like literally practicing in a hay field, like trying to get it out the mud, right?
insane.
And so what you just said is like, yeah, man. I'm sorry for interrupting. Like
No,
I need to hear more.
But yeah, it's like, because everybody comes from a different place, like, not everybody comes from, like a wealthier family or has, certain like not privileges, but like certain things can be easier if, you know, like
Certain
if you
things
come from a
accessible
poor
to 'em.
family, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really, you have to go out, like, there's really no other choice.
Yep.
Like, you have to go out there and get it. And
Yep.
like, I just think like once I realized that and made up my mind that it was like, you know, it's either go out here and get this work or I don't really know what the other choice is, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then, yeah, so the gym, I would say really came about like, yeah, so I've been training all this time and I mean, I just, you know, love training. I always kind of knew I wanted to open a gym one day. Like I didn't know it was going to be like this soon, but um, you know, I had so a good high school friend of mine. He used to have a studio where
Okay.
he would have like concerts and he would record like bands,
Right.
people that sing, play instruments, and like in high school we were in like a little band, and so Dennis would record us and he would help us out like with our music stuff, and then like a couple years ago he gave me a call one day and he was like, hey dude, like we have like the old venue where we used to do the studio is now vacant and it's just like sitting down there like collecting storage, like if you want to use it for jujitsu or if you know anybody that wants to use it, you guys can come use it. And at first I was like, oh, you know, that sounds cool, but like I don't know what I would do with a jujitsu gym, you know, like I'm
Right.
just a purple belt per se or whatever. I was kind of always had this picture in my head like you needed to be a black belt to open up a gym. And you know, just like the more I thought about it, and I was like, dude, I've been training for, you know, 8, 9 years up until this point, and I've been putting in like full time dedication where, you know, I feel like I was like one of the only, like not everybody's able to do that. People got families, school. So I was like, man, I'm one of the only people I know here locally that has put in, you know, this much dedication to it, training, you know, 4, 5, 6 days a week, January through December, you know, no breaks really. So I was like, man, maybe the more I thought about it, I was like, man, maybe I just am not going to let these belts like label or decide, you know, for me. Like, you know,
Right.
I know the time I've put in, I know the skill set that I have. And this, I was like, man, this is a great opportunity, like to get this venue. And it was like Dennis was hooking it up with the price. Like when he told me, because the first thing I thought too was like, oh, I'm not going to be able to afford it. Like that'd be cool. But, and then so when I went to look at it and he told me the price, I was like, dude, I could actually, like, I could swing this. Like,
Right.
hold on now. Like we
Yeah.
might actually be able to.
Yeah.
It's a different conversation now.
Yeah. And then, so dude, honestly, it was like kind of scary, bro. Like it really was a little bit scary, but I just was like, dude, you know what? Like, let's just do it. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen, right? Is, you know, I open this gym, nobody comes, like it fails, and then I move on to something else. But I was like, dude, I would at least rather try it and then fail and then get back up and keep moving. You know, it's like you won't ever know unless you
Right.
put your time in and you give it that shot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we just went for it, bro. And then started meeting people in the area. Like I met Kyvan and Louise. He's like one of my good friends that comes in. He does a lot of the striking.
Okay.
And then the pieces just kind of started falling into place.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, we're so blessed, bro. Like the squad that we have and all the help that I've gotten from everybody that comes into the gym, and it's been great, bro. Like a great group of people. Ames is such a good spot for it. I feel like we needed, you know, like a MMA type kind of jiu-jitsu gym.
For
So
sure.
yeah, it's been awesome, bro. I've been loving it.
Yeah.
It's been
That's-
awesome.
That's dope, man.
Man, well, just giving us like this preview, man. Like this is awesome. And so like if you had to say like anything to wrestlers coming up, or people that want to get involved, where are you located at? How do they get a hold of you? How do they get? Is it like an open door policy? Like anybody can come in? Like what's the process for getting involved?
Yes. So we're located downtown Ames, Iowa. The entrance is right behind Main Street. And yeah, I mean, we're open for anybody. You know, like we have higher level guys that are more experienced. We have a lot of new guys. You know, we got guys with good wrestling backgrounds. We got guys with no wrestling backgrounds. but we actually love having high level wrestlers come into the gym because it makes everybody in the room better. Because like jujitsu, it's starting to change now, but it's kind of notorious for kind of not being very good with the takedowns and the standing aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the way jiu-jitsu gyms have been taught for years, they didn't really focus on wrestling. It was more on the groundwork. So when you have high level wrestlers come in there, and you start wrestling with them, it forces you out of your comfort zone. Now you're working on takedowns.
Yeah.
I mean, wrestlers are just tough in general.
Right.
Like even if they've never done jiu-jitsu, like and they've been doing wrestling their whole life, it's gonna be really hard to submit that guy, even though he doesn't know any submissions.
Right.
Just because he's tough.
Yeah.
And he's been wrestling for years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anybody that's interested, like definitely come on in and check it out. I mean, we got classes every day of the week. Some days we do striking, but I think most days we do jiu-jitsu, like 5 or 6 days out of the week. And yeah, I mean, we love having different people in there, man. So yeah, everybody's definitely welcome.
For sure.
You hear that? Kids, adults.
Yeah, we're actually we were thinking about going up maybe to the high school and try to introduce ourselves a little bit. Like if we could start getting some of the high school boys or girls that are, started doing jiu-jitsu when they were in high school, then maybe after high school, if they weren't going to college for wrestling, they could start transitioning into the jiu-jitsu world.
Very smart.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that'd be cool. And I think like I didn't know what jiu-jitsu was when I was in high school. So I think if we could get it out there a little bit and just let these kids know that this is an option.
Yeah. Because I think it helps. I think it helps both parties. I think wrestlers get better, going into a gym with guys that are high level jiu-jitsu guys, because it forces us to now figure out these different positions that we're not comfortable in, and then vice versa with you guys too, the stuff that you're uncomfortable. So I think it's like a thing that we just feed off of each other, and we can show each other different things. So I think it's dope when wrestlers can integrate with some good jiu-jitsu guys for sure. So,
100%.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, thank you so much for coming on, man. We appreciate it a ton, and we're gonna have to have you back because I feel like we only got to like the surface of you. Right. What you think, Todd?
Yeah.
Like
we gonna have to have you back for a part 2 for sure.
We definitely like maybe 2, 3. Because I know you got some stuff like on the docket. So I feel like we only got to the surface. So we're definitely gonna have to swing back in, man. But we appreciate you coming on.
Man, thank you guys for having me so much, bro. Yeah. Anytime you guys want to do it again, just let me know. I'm always down.
For sure.
Thank
for
you
sure.
Guys.
We out.
Peace.
Peace out.